Love is the strongest magnetic force in the universe. Each time we choose love, we enjoy life more. Each time we choose love, we enhance the quality of our life. Each time we choose love, life seems brighter and clearer. Love heals. Love soothes. Love elevates. Love forgives. Love gives us hope. Love brings us joy and abundance. Love makes us grow. Love feels good. Love makes life colorful. We are all here to learn about love, to love yourself more, and therefore others. Real love is selfless and free from fear. It's joy in the pain. Love more. Love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. Speaking of love,
what an incredible way to honor her father and help others heal from the loss of a loved one due to suicide.
Welcome to Speaking of Love, the podcast, and I am your host, Latoya. I created this podcast in honor of my dad, who was an amazing guy. He had an infectious laugh, and his spirit was magnetic. He was the type of guy who made everybody feel like somebody special. If you were to place him in a crowded room of 100 people, my dad would be the smartest person in the entire room. He was an award-winning radio TV broadcast engineer for many years. Born and raised in the city of Detroit, he was one of the first to go to college in his family. And while attending Wayne State University, he developed a lifelong love affair with the game of basketball. He was the shortest point guard on the team, but he could slam dunk the basketball with either hand. By all outward appearances, my dad lived a rewarding life, but there were parts of him that were known to only him. On March 2nd of 2020, my dad's private struggles became public when he took his own life in a murder-suicide. When he died, a part of me died too. And since the tragedy, I have become an advocate for mental health awareness and suicide prevention. I also created this beautiful podcast in honor of my dad and others like him who are struggling with the effects of mental health challenges. My podcast, Speaking of Love, is named after a show my dad once hosted called Speaking of Sports. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me today as we take a journey in pursuit of the strongest magnetic force on the planet Earth, and that's love. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today? I'm so excited to be here.
So am I. This is so amazing. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. 5 years. Yay.
Thank you so much. Hello, my beautiful audience. It's a wonderful pleasure to be here today. My name is Latoya, and I am the host of this podcast. I'm happy to be here on my 5 year anniversary. It's been 5 years since I've been doing this podcast, and I'm still going strong. I'm still happy. I'm still here, and I'm still touching lives. Today, I have an amazing young lady here. We're going to kick off this 5 year anniversary with a beautiful young lady by the name of Ayama Ashram. She is a dedicated philanthropist, entrepreneur, mental health advocate. Her work with holistic blends health, mental wellness, and creative expression to make a lasting impact on her community. She
Yes.
began her career in the field of holistic and health nutrition, where she gained extensive knowledge about the mind body connection. And also, following a devastating loss of her oldest son, Iyama's life took a profound turn. This heartbreaking event ignited her passion to advocate for mental health awareness and provide support to those facing emotional challenges. So please help me welcome Ayama.
Thank you. Thank you, sister. It's so amazing to be here. It is truly amazing to see what you've done with your platform and just in the community as a whole. It is truly an honor to sit down with you.
Yes, thank you so much. And you and I, we have a connection because we went to middle school together. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Columbus Junior High. And you were amazing then. I just want to say that it is very telling children early on in adolescence who they will turn out to be in life. You were always just an amazing student. You were amazing to fellow students, staff. You
Oh,
were always helping out in the office, things like that. You were just a student that we all just loved and wanted to talk to. You just always had an amazing spirit, and it still lives on today. So it's no surprise to me what you've accomplished just as a human being. It is not. I'm not surprised.
oh, well, thank you for saying that. And I agree with you. I've always had a big heart. I remember going to church with my mom on Sundays as a little girl, and I would always ask her, Mom, can we stop by the store? And she'd go, for what? And I'd say, well, I want to get something for my friends. And I remember one time she took me to a store and she bought this huge Hershey's chocolate bar for me to give to one of my friends in church. So I've always had that big heart, and I appreciate you for saying that. But this interview is about you, Yama. I'm going to call you Yama. This interview is about you.
Absolutely.
You have an amazing life, and I'm so proud to know all of the great things that you have accomplished. So we're going to get started, and we're just going to go back and we're going to talk about a little bit about the early years growing up. What was life like for you here in the city of Detroit growing up?
Well, let's see. We'll start. I grew up on the east side of Detroit, Cadillac and Jefferson to be exact. And during that time, times were actually really crazy in the 80s. This generation does not understand what we understand about community. I grew up in the time where Alton Coleman was terrorizing the east side of Detroit. And we were afraid to sleep in our homes, and our parents were bringing us inside, before the street lights and things like that. So, I grew up in that era. I'm sure as did you. I'm not sure we from the same neighborhood, but that's pretty much what life was like. So I became empathetic early on for the mental health community.
I think we're losing your connection, Yama.
Oh
You're
no.
breaking up a little bit.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
I
Oh
can hear
no.
you. It's just sounds like a little broken up, but that's okay. We'll keep going through. Hopefully it'll clear up.
Do apologize. Oh no, I do apologize. Okay. Yes. So that was, when I was first introduced to the mental health community. I had a neighbor to begin to suffer mental health issues doing she developed anxiety due to, the scare with Alton Coleman. So that sticks
Mhm.
out so much in my mind because I believe that is where it started, where, I developed a curiosity for mental health issues. So it kind of started for me, in childhood, where I would go to school and I would notice when other students, this is like me in the second, third grade, where I would notice when other students had anxiety, when they were
Mm.
suffering depression. And I would want to talk to them and I would tell them, you can come over my house or I would come over your house and talk to them. So it started early, with me really connecting, you know, with mental health issues.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how it started for me in childhood.
So you have an early career in holistic health and nutrition. Talk to us about that.
Well, my interest in holistic health and nutrition really started as a parent. I was really concerned about my children's diet. And I was an avid reader and I grew to understand how diet uh, dramatically affects a child's brain development and things like that. So it kind of started with me just as a parent, learning how to prepare uh, my children's snacks and things like that, opposed to buying more processed things from the grocery store. So my curiosity, was kind of birthed forth out of being a parent. And I transitioned, you know, more into a mindful lifestyle, meditation, yoga, and things like that. So then becoming certified nutrition, that afforded me to be able to really further that and really reach out to my community and share, what I learned, and then I was introduced to Reiki and, all of these mindful practices, so it kind of started there with me. And this is where, I became a meditation therapist, I
Mm.
became a yoga therapist, just all things mind, body, and soul, and really teaching people how to connect these things, to connect these channels for a better quality of life. Because I would not ever degrade the clinical practices, not at all. They are very helpful, but I find that the holistic approach to most things has the greater success. It has a greater success rate when people can approach certain things from a holistic perspective. So, that is kind of where it was birthed forth from. And that is where, I began to take it. So I began to teach workshops, um, small lectures, things like that. Just not really charging people a phenomenal fee, but
Mhm.
my mission was more so to help people and to implement these things where I saw that they were needed. So that is how I began, in holistic health and nutrition. It was kind of birthed forth from that and it progressed on to that stage.
So just helping people adopt a healthier lifestyle.
Yes. And with relationships, because I was noticing that people would come to me quite often about their relationship issues. And I would be able to give them a holistic perspective as to how to repair certain relationship issues like intimacy issues, communication issues, things like that. And so many of these things within relationships are connected to your diet. It is connected to your previous partners. It is connected to many things that people are actually not aware that they're connected to. So through my workshops, I was able to really help couples to connect holistically, you know. So it was many things that I kind of bridged together to create something special for the community. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, and natural healing is very important. I know a lot of times we go to our doctors and they give us all this medication, but really the natural way to heal the body is not always in medication at all. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're not putting that down, not at all. That's not what we're doing. We're not discrediting medicine,
mhm,
but you and I both know that, I feel like the holistic approach it has shown itself to be very successful. And I would
sure.
never tell anyone to stop taking medicine, or to stop seeing their physician or anything like that, their gynecologist or anything like that. But I would suggest is that you do your research
Do
what you're
your
taking, research what you're being told, and go from there. Yeah, for sure.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes with medications, the medication can cure or help the condition, but it's going to give you the side effects that leave you just feeling not the best.
Absolutely.
So you have to
Absolutely.
balance that out. Do I want to be healed or and cured, or do I want to feel bad while getting cured? It's a decision we have to make, and we have to go through it because most all medications have some form of side
Hmm.
effect that can definitely disrupt your day if you're not feeling well, so to speak. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has many, many side effects.
Yes. Well, in light of mental health, we're going to move the interview forward, and we're going to talk about a new mission that you started after your personal tragedy following the devastating loss of your son. Do you want to
Yeah.
shed a little light on that experience?
Yes.
The
Well,
mission.
my mission. My mission was birthed forth. Um, the mission is very connected to the passing of my son. My son was a very unique individual. Um, he lived out loud. He lived in his truth, and oftentimes in doing that, you are targeted for being an individual in how you present, how you think, how you communicate. Um, and in traveling that journey with him to the very end, I saw a need for the marginalized community, uh, the community that is deemed unsuitable in society. And so Threads for Change advocacy group was birthed forth into, from that. In adolescence, a lot of children are economically challenged. And with that being the case, they may not be able to afford the best clothing. So they are targeted. They are targeted for their appearance. You know, they are bullied, you know, by, their fellow students. I understand that a lot of students, are not taught at home not to do these things within society. But so many children uh transition into adults who suffer from mental health issues due to being targeted for their appearance, whether they are a part of the transgender community, whether they are overweight, whether they have a physical disability, or maybe they just present themselves differently, in an eccentric way. And what happens is in society, in the workplace, in relationships, these people are targeted. And they are targeted to an extent that they develop mental health issues, anxiety, social anxiety, panic disorder, all of these things, you know, and it gets to a point where you have so many employees that end up quitting their jobs because they can't function at work due to being targeted. So many of these people have to go on disability, you know, and have to decline in their quality of life because they cannot function, you know, in the workplace. And what happens is a lot of managers and business owners, they are in the dark as to why their businesses are not successful, you know, why they don't have, you know, the productivity that they would wish for. Well, this is a stemming problem that lies within the employees, in the environment that is created by their employees. And not enough attention is put into um, the environment of the employees. So, you know, I work with a lot of employees who have to end up quitting their job due to them not being able to function in the workplace. So, Threads for Change, that is what we do. We advocate for those in society who feel like they don't belong, who've been targeted, you know, and that's pretty much what our mission is about. We advocate for the mental health community as a whole, but this particular community is really at risk. There is a risk there. There's a conversation that needs to be had about appearance targeting. You know, you can have the highest of self esteem, but when you are constantly targeted for your appearance, whatever that may be, after a while, that is going to take a toll on your mental health. And we are here, myself and my team, we are here to advocate for that. However, that looks, wherever we have to go, this is what we do, you know, to lend a voice in a space for the targeted.
Wow, that's amazing. And Yama, you and your team, you organize a fashion-based charity fundraiser, workshops, educational programs. Talk to us about those events and what you have coming up here in the future that other people can get involved in.
So what we have is we offer workshops to places of employment that would like to hold classes and spaces for their employees to learn tolerance, to learn friendship, to learn all of the important things that make a workplace operate seamlessly. You know, a lot of it's needed within the workplace. So we host workshops, you know, for employees, you know, to kind of educate them on tolerance in the workplace. We also visit, you know, schools and campuses, you know, to speak on targeting and bullying because it is the highest rate, you know, in schools. But we're noticing the numbers are rising within the workplace. So we
Mm,
host, you know, yeah, you know, we visit schools, you know, and we'll hold conferences and things like that. You know, for students, for faculty as well, because, you know, we have a huge problem right now. Well, faculty are, they're refusing to get involved in this targeting issue. So it's out of hand. So that's what we do. So, and we host events. So we host events. We host yearly events, and they're fashion, art, and music inspired events. And you know, our the reason why we chose fashion, art, and music, because these are things that really connect people. You know,
mhm,
we connect as a community through music. We connect as a community through art. We connect as a community through music. You know, you can hear a poem and it'll change your life. You can see a painting and it transforms your very soul. You know, so many artists, this is how they handle their mental health issues: through painting, through drawing, through singing, writing poetry, writing songs. This is their medicine. This is how they cope. So, this is why Threads for Change Advocacy Group, this is why we have implemented these things and what it is we do to bring the community together. Because we know this is how so many people cope with
Mm-hmm.
mental health issues. So our upcoming event, Pop for NAMI, Threads for Change, Fashion Music, and Art event. We've partnered with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and this event is to support the advocacy work that they do, the advocacy in education, the vital work that they do in advocacy and education. So we're just coming together, to really support them, to really support what they do. Because what many people don't understand is that NAMI is one of the largest organizations that advocates for mental health. So
Mm-hmm.
what the community needs to understand, it is, we have many great organizations, so many, too many to name, that are dedicated organizations and volunteers that commit their time and attention to the mental health community. But NAMI is actually one of the largest. So they are responsible for a lot of mental health programs and things like that we have access to. So, as a community, we have to show up. We have to show up to Congress. We have to show up to a lot. I'm trying to be mindful of what I say, but we have to show up as a community. We have to tackle uh, these systems and structures that are in place that are
Yes, we
harmful.
do.
We have to show up when there are meetings, when there are town hall meetings. We need to show up for our community, because we are in danger now of so many things being taken away from the mental health community, which is very dangerous. So Threats for Change advocacy group, we are fighting, we advocate, we fight for the rights of the mental health community.
Thank you for that, Yama. What is the one takeaway lesson when you're working with people, you're doing your workshops, and you're meeting with individuals? What's the one takeaway lesson that you want people to gain from your services?
Hmm. The one takeaway, we have to implement love. Love is at the root of all healing. And what I need people to take away is that we must gain tolerance, acceptance, and love for those who look different from us, from those who present different from us. The takeaway is to advocate, not segregate. The
Mm,
takeaway is to love, not push away, not discriminate, but advocate. And if I want any to take away anything from what it is that we do, it is that, to advocate, not segregate, but
mm,
advocate for one another with love,
mhm.
as the beautiful Latoya has shown us in every aspect of everything that she does. In the manner in which she goes out into the community and she touches everyone with love, we need to do the same. To look at
Yeah,
everyone who looks different, who speaks different, advocate with love.
I love that. I love that. Yama, this podcast was created in honor of my dad who took his own life in a murder suicide. He murdered his wife and then moments later took his own life. So it's really difficult for me to stand before an audience and say all these wonderful things about a man who ultimately took the life of someone beautiful, who had a family and all these wonderful things.
Yeah.
So the $1 million question that I ask people who sit before me on this platform, Yama, how do you define love? Speaking of love, how do you define love?
Love is selfless, it's transparent, it's freedom, it's service. Yet it has a palpable essence about it. And that is how I define it. I define it as, because to love is to extend freedom. To love is to
Mhm.
be transparent. To love is to give acceptance. To love is to be brave. It takes
Mhm.
bravery to love because it may not be reciprocated. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, that it is palpable in its essence. That is truly love.
Oh, I love that. Wow.
Yes.
I have chills. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you love most about all of this beautiful work that you're doing when you go home at the end of the day and you've been out in the community advocating, working? What do you love most about your work?
What I love most about it is that I can look myself in the mirror before I go to bed at night and know that I stood up not only for myself but for my community. That when I walk in my door, I know that I advocated. I advocated for the voiceless. I spoke up for those who feel like nobody is there for them, like nobody cares. And to be able to share in their joy and in their happy moments when they look at me and they say to me, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel loved just for you standing up for me, just for you advocating for us. And that is the best part of what I do is the results. I'm up hours past what I should be, but it's endless work. Community work is endless work. I'm at my computer 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. But if it means challenging everything that's been set in place that's harmful, when I come home, that right there is enough for me to say I did my part in my community. I fought today.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Your work is impactful. You're changing lives. You're saving lives.
Yes.
Yama, I want to ask a question. This podcast is going to be viewed and people are going to listen in. If there's someone watching or listening to this podcast right now and they're struggling, they're having thoughts of suicide, they don't want to be here anymore. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to die, but they want their pain to end.
Yeah.
What words of encouragement would you offer them to stay around and just hang on a little bit longer?
Oh, excuse me. I would say to anyone who is under the sound of our voices right now that is watching this, and you feel like you can't go on, you feel like you can't go another day because the suffering and the torment is just that intense. I want you to know that you have every reason to hold on and zero reasons to let go. I sit before you here having lost 3 children. I lost twin daughters, 5 months old, and I lost my oldest son at the age of 27. And I sit before you here now to let you know that you can overcome anything, anything. Don't be afraid to speak what you feel to your loved ones. Speak it out because holding it in creates an energy of decay. So I
Mm.
speak into you right now to let you know that you have a million reasons to live and zero reasons to die. I know it hurts. I know you feel torment. I know you feel pain, agony. Speak it out and breathe. Breathe and hold on. Hold on as long as you can because I sit before you here letting you know that you can conquer anything. Anything.
Wow. Yes, I feel that very deeply.
Yes.
Thank you, Yama.
You are
You're
so
such a
welcome.
powerful, you're such a powerful spirit. I love your mission. I love what you're doing. When the pages of your life are reviewed and your mission here on the planet Earth is complete, what do you most want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being fearless. I want to be remembered for being brave. I want to be remembered for being passionate in every aspect of my life.
Mm.
I want to be remembered for advocating and tirelessly fighting for everyone, for the voiceless, for the invisible. I want to be remembered for being fearless, a fearless fighter who never gave up despite adversity, despite profound loss. What people don't understand is child loss and parent loss are one of the most profound losses that one can experience. And I want to be remembered for being a fighter, for being brave.
Mm. And you have already achieved your intention. You are just that. You are just that. And I thank you for being here, a part of my podcast. I'm looking forward to connecting with you next month. Can you give us the
Yes,
details, the time, the date of your event, and if anyone is interested in connecting with you, how they can reach out to you to help you in your organization?
absolutely. Well, we are Threads for Change advocacy group across all social media platforms. All social media platforms, we are Threads for Change advocacy group. And in those platforms, there are links to our official website so you can get a grand idea of what it is that we do in the community with our team, all of our events and everything like that. And our next event coming up is the Pop for NAMI Threads for Change Fashion, Art, and Music event. And it will be held in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And it starts at 5 p.m. It goes from 5 p.m. until, because we don't have a time limit on advocacy and art. So come on out and enjoy us. You can purchase tickets for that via Eventbrite, or you can purchase tickets for that directly from me at Threads for Change Advocacy Group at gmail.com. We hope to see you
Okay,
guys there.
I'm going to put the address here on the screen. Threads for Change Advocacy Group at
Uh-huh.
gmail.com.
Yes, and that is how they purchase directly from me, or they can purchase via Eventbrite. But what I've noticed is that a lot of attendees they prefer to purchase directly from me, and that is amazing. I can process your tickets, right through me. So it's up to the attendees, and you have to purchase in advance. There will be no paid admission at the door. So, unfortunately, if you show up to the event, you will not be able to pay at the door. So, all attendees that are interested in coming, you have to purchase in advance.
Wonderful. And how much are the tickets?
The tickets are $30 for one admission, and then we have a plus one ticket, which is two admissions, and that ticket is $55. And we also have a donation portal um, on that platform as well.
Wonderful. And I'm also going to be a part of the event as well. I'll be
Yeah,
there speaking of love.
yeah.
I'll be there speaking of love. I can't
Speaking of
wait. I'm
love,
excited.
yes, we're excited to have you. We know that you are going to bring all of that amazing, loving energy that you embody. You glow with love despite the adversity that you faced. I connect with that because I lost my father as well many years ago. Um, and I connect and I share your sense of loss. So you are amazing to be able to pull love from such ashes. And I commend
Yes.
you. I would like to commend you, just for your strength, for your
Thank
power,
you.
for your love.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Yama. I really appreciate that.
So
And I
welcome.
commend you and I thank you as well for being here as a guest on my plot on my podcast, Speaking of
Yeah,
Love. And
yeah.
before we go, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, yeah. Also, check out my clothing line, Platinum Face Card Apparel. We are a mental health awareness clothing line, and what I implement is something called enclothed cognition. And what that is, it is the psychological effects of what you wear, and that is related to the colors that you wear. That is related to a lot of things. You can tell a lot about a person's mental health by how they dress and present themselves.
Hmm.
So that can be implemented in clothes cognition, and that is what I implement in my clothing line. And my clothing line is designed to boost confidence and also to boost calm. So we have a collection called Amethyst, and that consists of t-shirts, pajamas, slippers, lamps, and it is to induce calm. And the rest of our clothing line is to boost confidence. Let your face card show. And in doing that, you're advocating for mental wellness. So Platinum Face Card Apparel, Threads for Change Advocacy Group.
Wonderful. I love that. I never thought about the fact that what you wear can impact the way people view you and what you're feeling at that moment.
Yeah, colors have a tremendous impact on your mood. uh when I see patients, and I'm learning their symptoms, I could pretty much tell them what colors they should not wear versus what colors that they should be wearing, and they report back to me tremendous success in just changing the colors that you wear can have a
Mm.
profound impact on your mental health and your overall mood and your relationship. That's something for another show.
Wow. I wear a lot of black, I guess, because I think I feel more powerful and more confident in black. But
It is.
some people often view the color black as like a depressing color. And I'm thinking, no, it's a power color. What are your
It is.
views on the color black, Yana?
Well, my views on the color black is that black is actually a very powerful color. It shows strength. It
Mm.
shows determination. People see black as, dare I say, upper echelon. Black is associated, just with power, is associated with money. It's associated with all those things. Yeah, and it can be associated with depression, but it can only be associated with depression when the person is depressed.
That's
So if you
right.
are depressed and you are wearing black, that's the energy that you're going to give off. But if you are a powerful, magnetic, strong person, when you're wearing black, that is the energy that you're going to give off. And black is also sexy. You
Yes,
know,
it is.
sex. It's a very sexy color. So yeah, it's all about what's inside. It's all about the energy that you emote from the inside. So it could be powerful or it could be depressive. It just all depends on what you resonate at.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yama, we have some comments here that people have written in. So I'm going to read these so we can answer their questions. There's a
Absolutely.
lady, Juanita Caesar. She
Yeah.
says, how important is it that we speak up when we see what this is happening? What is the best way to approach this behavior? I think she's speaking about the bullying. People who bully are broken, and that's why I ask, what is the best way to approach and to stop people who bully? How would you answer that, Yama?
Okay, so what I would say is if you're seeing someone who is targeting and bullying another individual for their appearance, first we must extend internal grace because we know that people who do these things are broken. Hurt people. That's as simple as it is. So, I would say speak up. And I would not say speak up in a confrontational way, but speak up to this person in love. And what I mean by that is approaching this person and inquiring as to why they feel the need to target others. And you might find out that this person actually needs someone to talk to. You might find out that this person is hurting on the inside, and you might be met with an antagonistic comment or response, and you have to be prepared for that because a lot of times bullies, are not the nicest people. So what ends up happening is you might be met with, you know not the nicest of response, and then sometimes you are met with a person who is deeply hurting on the inside. So what I say is to speak up. I believe in speaking up. I believe in bravery. I will stand up to all systems, all people, when I see anything that is not right, when I see anything that is hurting another person. So speak out, speak against it, and be prepared to be met with whatever comes your way.
Yeah, that's
Hello,
right.
Juanita. Hello, she's one of my designers. Hello, Anita. How are you?
Thank you so much for tuning in, Juanita Caesar. We appreciate having you here. And just speaking up on that, I tend to be the type of person, I have always had a problem standing up for myself.
Mm,
Even now, I'll be 50 years old this year, and I still struggle with speaking up for myself in a lot of regards.
yeah.
And what I notice about me is I've worked with children for over half my life. And I have
Yeah.
a deep, profound love for children, especially children who have Down syndrome, autism. I've worked with those children. And when it
Mm,
comes to situations like that, I will swim through
yes.
shark water for a child with Down
Hmm.
syndrome. And
Yes.
I had an experience at a Kroger recently, and a lot of the people who work there, they have developmental disabilities, and they're working there. And whenever I see them being treated in a way that I don't believe is fair, I will stand up and whatever it
Hmm.
takes, I'm going to
Yes.
let them know you don't talk to her
Hmm.
like that. You don't
Hmm.
treat her that way. I've even been on the news about a church in my community that had this sign up that literally made fun of people with dyslexia. So I
I think
definitely
I remember
agree
that.
that.
I think I
Mhm.
remember seeing that. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm a nice, sweet, kind person, but when it comes to advocating and protecting the people who can't protect themselves, I'm on the
Mm,
front line for that. Yeah, so I
mm.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question, Juanita Caesar. I really appreciate her for tuning in. And before we conclude our wonderful interview, Yama, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Absolutely not. This has been so amazing. Thank you, Latoya, so much. You are such an amazing, beautiful soul. The world
Oh,
needs you. We need
oh.
you. We need you. We need all of your love, all of your beautifulness. That's a word I made up. Beautifulness.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
thank you. I need to hear that. I live with this self of mine every day, all day. I see myself, but I don't really see, I guess I don't recognize a lot of times the greatness and what I really possess, because I live with it every day. I'm just being me. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for fashion, for fame. I do it from a love that's deep inside of my heart. And what I will say is the only way to really know how to truly love is
Yeah.
to know what it feels like not to be loved, to know what
Mm-hmm.
it feels like to live your life in a way where your love towards the world is an inward reflection of love that you never got. And
Of
that's what my life has been like.
Yes.
So the deeper the passion for love comes from the deepest, emptiest places of my life where I didn't have that love. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm such a master in the art of spreading love, is because I know what it feels like not to be loved. And that's just my
Yes.
honesty.
And that
Yep.
is so beautiful. That is so transparent. And what I want you to know today is that I want to pour all of that love that I see you pour out. I want to pour it back on you because you are beautiful. You are aesthetically stunning,
Thank
and
you.
you deserve that and more. Everything that you put out into this world, you deserve it times a million. And I send
Wow.
that energy to you. I send that energy to you. Just an amazing, stunning soul, inside and out.
Thank you so much, Yama. I
You
truly
are so
appreciate your love.
You are
Thank you for
so
being here.
beautiful. You're so
Thank you for
welcome.
being here. Yes, yes. You were my 145th guest.
Oh,
Yes.
amazing. Well, you know
And
what? I
before,
would love to come back. I would love to come back, and
yes,
we are
we have to
looking
come back.
forward. We
Yes,
are
we
looking
have to come
forward
back and talk more about your holistic approach and
to
all the things that you're doing outside of the mental health world. We definitely have to have you back.
Yes, because I have workshops coming up. I have intimacy workshops coming up. And maybe when I come back, we could talk more about a holistic approach to intimacy. It's important.
Ooh, that's
Yes.
exciting.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Well, in lieu of my 5-year celebration of my podcast has been going strong for 5 years. When I first started this podcast, I used to do it every Saturday at 12 o'clock noon, but life has gotten busy. I have a lot
Yeah.
going on. So now I present the podcast on a monthly basis, and
Okay.
it's still able to stream monthly, and I do it once a month. I'm still relevant. So today I want to acknowledge and I want to announce that I am going to be writing a children's book. I am going to share it here. Yes, this is my first time talking about it publicly. I'm going to share with you right now the cover of the book. I'm going to reveal the cover of the book. So this is the book. The book is going to be called Love Behind the Camera. As you all know, my father was a radio TV broadcast engineer. He was a cameraman for a local news station here in Detroit. And he always had the camera on his shoulder. And I didn't realize the significance of the camera until later on in life, until after he passed away. So this is my new book. It's going to be published on May 25th, which would be my dad's birthday. That's his birthday, May 25th. So I'm going to publish it on his birthday. The book is called Love Behind the Camera. My father was a huge he loved the city of Detroit. So that's why the cover of the book, you can see the Renaissance Center behind us. We're at Belle Isle. He loved the city of Detroit. He was a diehard Detroit resident. And then I'm going to also read to you the description of the book. One second here. Let me pull that up so you can
This is
read the
so
description.
beautiful.
Thank you. So the description of the book, it's about a little girl named Amora. And Amora, the word amora, it means love. So, Love Behind the Camera is a touching story about a young girl named Amora and the beautiful bond she shared with her dad, a successful news cameraman who saw the world through loving lenses. Amora's dad always had a camera on his shoulder, capturing moments of love and creating joyful memories, even when his own heart carried silent pain. He was an amazing photographer who hid his inner darkness by shining light upon others. When Amora's dad unexpectedly dies by suicide, her world turns upside down. But through old photos and videos of her dad, Amora finds a way to heal. With courage in her heart and her dad's spirit guiding her, she embarks upon a journey of love by honoring his legacy. Love Behind the Camera is a powerful story about grief, healing, and the unbreakable bond between a father and a daughter. Inspired by true events, this beautifully illustrated book reminds its young readers that even when someone is no longer in the picture, the love captured by a camera lives forever.
That's so beautiful. That is
Thank you.
beautiful. Yes,
Thank you very
everybody support this book. This is so amazing. Oh,
Thank you
I love
all
it.
so much.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Love Behind the Camera. And I'll talk more about that in my next episodes because it won't be released until next month. I'm holding out. I want it to be released on the day of his birth. So thank you all so much. Ayama,
Amazing.
I'm looking forward to getting with you for
Yes,
threads of change advocacy. I'm just looking forward to it. And you and I we will be connecting here on this platform again very soon.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having
Thank
me. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all so much for being here. And I'll be back in a few weeks with another episode of Speaking of Love. Have a great day, everyone.